And now we go to the final thing that we're going to talk about this week, and this is on Netflix, and this is Madam. This is Madam, a New Zealand, a New Zealand comedy, a New Zealand half-hour comedy, drama, whatever you want to call it, about. And I spoke about this a little bit last week, and I said I would love to see what you guys thought about it. I'd love to see what Holly, what you thought, and Sharon, what you thought as well. And Sharon, you said you've watched the first episode of it.
Yeah.
Just to give a basic idea of what it is. So, Rachel Griffiths plays a character called Mac. They call it Mac. And this whole show, I mean, there's some things I love about this show. Number one, I hate it when you have a show and they take ages to get to the central premise of the show, where they we're going to start off the show and we're going to show you this character's home life, and we're going to show you the husband, and we're going to show you how they get on together. And this does none of that. This just goes straight into it. The first thing you see is Rachel Griffiths sat in a van looking at something, and you get the idea that she's on a stakeout. Then she sees a guy come out of like a hotel room. And as it goes along, you realize that guy who comes out of a hotel room is her husband, and he's been seen a sex worker. And so she goes in, she has a chat to the sex worker, who is called Tui, who, I don't know about you guys, but I thought had a scary resemblance to Keira Knightley. So it's like, okay, apparently it's just me. But it's like, yeah, especially in the first scene when she has a wig on and everything like that. And so she finds out all about this, and because prostitution is legal in New Zealand, she decides, you know what I'm going to do? She does a little bit of research, sees what kind of conditions that these women are working under, and so she decides that she's going to set up an ethical brothel. And then the whole thing becomes, this show turns into a workplace comedy that just happens to be set in a brothel. Happens to be set in a brothel, and it's about the different women who come there and work there, why they come there and work there, how they deal with this whole sorts of stuff. And I just really, really liked the vibe of this show. There's an episode of there's an episode that's set entirely on Valentine's Day, and what does Valentine's Day look like in a brothel? and you have and I think the characterizations of the different people is great. I think the fact that it's a New Zealand show, I think plays a lot into this, because you get to see a real diverse, and it's like a diverse group of people that doesn't feel forced. It just feels like these are the people who live in New Zealand. The fact that one of the characters, the actor's real life name is Moana. I was like, oh, this is like a whole bit. This is great, and there's even jokes about it, about different people, about different backgrounds, people who are like Maori and people who are come from a European background. And there's one woman who definitely looks like she comes from South India, and I love the fact that the way they put all these women together. And I remember that some of it reminds me of, I remember seeing this TV show Orange is the New Black, which was one of the first shows that had a mostly female cast, and just went on to talk about. And there's one particular episode of Orange is the New Black where they're talking about, let me say, feminine hygiene. They're talking about feminine hygiene and how women don't really know that much about their own bodies and everything like that. And for me, I was just kind of watching this going, I don't think I've ever seen anything like this. And I think I got that quite a lot with Madam. I was like, oh, what? I've never seen anything. I've never thought about this that way, anything like that. I personally, I am probably more on the prudish side of things, and I don't. When it comes to sex work, I still kind of think, as much as this show normalizes it and everything, I do still have this thing of going, yeah, but you're still having sex with people, right? Loads of different people in the same day. How is that? Isn't that like a deeper conversation we need to have here? There's a great episode where a bunch of Christians decide where a bunch of Christians decide to protest the place, and I just think it's, anyway, Holly, you watched the whole thing. What did you think?
I watched the whole thing. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I thought it was enjoyably madcap.
Yes.
Well-constructed characters. Suitably mad premise.
Yep.
Various...
Based on a true story, by the way.
Yes. Various somewhat bizarre premises along the way, that where you don't quite know what's going to happen next, but I hugely enjoyed it. Yeah. I'm hoping desperately there's going to be a season 2, because I want to know what happens next.
Yes, they do that quite well.
They do, and they have very likable characters.
Yes. I think that one of the best things about this show is the character work. It's a lot of this is because even when they're bringing up a trope or something, like there's a character called Desire, and almost the second she shows up, you're like, oh my god, bad news, bad news, bad news, bad news. And even then, they managed to do a lot of stuff with the character work in there that makes her a lot more than just a one note character. It makes it a lot more that I mean, there's like, there's a neighbor next door who happens to be like a hunky chef and everything like that, and even there they managed to do stuff to draw these characters out so that they're not just tropes, and I really really like that.
It's complicated characterization, but not so complicated that you can't get into it and you can't remember it.
Yeah.
You don't feel like you needed to have watched 25 previous episodes, and you could probably pick up, part way through and kind of catch up with what was going on. You'd be better watching all of it.
Yeah.
But it's good characterization. It's a tight script. It's well shot.
It's half an hour. Each episode is half an hour. It's awesome.
I did watch the first episode. What made me laugh, though, was that the husband of Mac is played by he's the lead actor in Virgin River. And obviously,
yes.
Virgin River, he's like a Marine, ex-Marine. He has a bar. He's like this man's man. He's this completely he's like this alpha male in every regard. And he's like, well, I've only seen the first episode. He's like slightly wet and like not really very effective. And it's just, to me, to see him in that role, I would just thought that made me laugh sort of straight away, because it's like couldn't be more different to his Virgin River character.
It's good casting, and it is very nice that there are, Maori cast, Pacific Islander casts.
Yeah.
That it's not filmed out of Hollywood.
Yeah. I mean, I do feel like that has I feel like the vibe of it that has a lot to play into that. And I have to say, a real shout out for a character, an actress called Rima Te Wiata, who plays Jules in the show. She is, because that is the performance, that's the kind of character that could just be annoying. But she manages to make the character like soulful, motherly, just like you just warm to that character straight away. You warm to that character. You just want, and you're like, you know what? I wish I had a Jules in my life. I mean, I think she plays her perfectly. I think it's brilliant. I think. Yeah, great cast. One of the best ensemble casts I think I've seen. You just put them together and everything they do.
A shame we need to run a brothel to get a Jules. There are legality issues, I gather.
Yes, I know. But I mean, I do. Obviously, that I think that there is, even though the lady, the real life Mackenzie, whose book this is based on, because she ran a ethical brothel for 3 years. I think a big part of that was to try and sort of destigmatize sex work. And I know that there's a lot of stuff that's going into this, and I think that they do a lot to sort of show you why these women are doing it and what they get from it. But for me, there's still that whole thing. I'm like, okay, cool. Okay, maybe some might say I'm a bit more open-minded now or anything like that, but I still have questions because it's still sex work. And isn't there something... Well, okay, there's something literally icky about it, but also just kind of like from a head thing. Anyway. But anyway, I'm not sure. I mean, Holly, I know you could fall more on the liberal side of things than I do. What did you think about that?
Sorry, my brain completely discombobulated there. Please say that again for the stupid person in the corner.
No. Okay, so essentially, long and short of it, what did this make you think about sex work?
I have probably complicated views about it, because I think it's a difficult one as a modern feminist to take a singular point of view, because I firmly believe in bodily autonomy and that everybody has a right to do with themselves and their lives what they will if they are not hurting other people, or as you know, I think killing people is bad. That's one of my very, very firmly held positions, and I don't think you should steal things. But I'm relatively sanguine, don't hurt people. Hurting people bad.
Yeah.
So I fundamentally believe that everybody has the right to make their own decisions about themselves, regardless of what anyone else may think or judge.
Yeah.
But sex work has the capacity to imply that a woman or a man's body can be bought and sold, and that is something that also doesn't sit entirely comfortably with me. So I got to the end of the first series still feeling the same personal dichotomy, that I respect people and their life choices, and I am, even if I were their mum, it wouldn't be my choice, it would be their choice, and my judgment or lack thereof is nothing to do, should have no bearing on anybody else's decisions, except possibly for some voting choices where I think everybody should listen to me. But setting that aside, it was a I don't think it changed my position, but I think it provided an interesting humanization, and there are some elements of it where you could very much see the positives of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think humanization is a very good word. It's sort of like it treats it almost very matter of fact. As I said, this is a workplace comedy. It's a workplace comedy that happens to be set in a brothel, and it treats it very sort of like matter of fact as to this is what it is, and we need to I think it's possible. Like I think essentially what you're talking about, that to enjoy this show and still not think that that's an all right line of work or anything like that. But anyway, the actress I was talking about that I said reminded me so much of Keira Knightley, especially in the first scene, especially her chin. She has a very Keira Knightley chin.
Doesn't she?
Yes, Ariana Osborne, who plays Tui. I just kept going, oh my God, it looks like a Keira Knightley. Maybe shorter, but especially when she had that wig on in the first scene. But anyway, have a look and see. So how many stars would you give Madam Holly?
I'm going to go 4.25.
4.25. I would, I think I agree. It is very good. I quite liked it. It's half-hour episodes. Doesn't stay as welcome, and it finishes off something and sets up a new. It sets up the next season as to what's going to happen, and it's almost kind of like they've had a smoking gun right there from the beginning, and you kind of know this is how it's going to end. And again, this is the natural place for it to lead into a season 2. But I would just love to hang around with these characters and see more of what they do, and especially see Jules come into her own, because honestly, Jules, it's like love that character. It's like